The raging fires had been extinguished. Mountains of twisted metal and shattered debris were slowly disappearing as rescue teams worked day and night. For the first time in 6 long months, the Velkari people walked freely beneath their own skies, no longer hiding, no longer running, no longer living in fear. The scars of war were everywhere, but so was something even stronger: hope. On a hill overlooking the capital, Elder Ninra stood beside Captain Ju. Before them stretched what had once been a magnificent city. Towering buildings now lay in ruins. Streets were ripped apart by massive craters, and smoke still drifted from broken structures. It was heartbreaking. Yet among the ruins, children laughed, families embraced one another, volunteers cleared rubble, while neighbors helped rebuild homes. The city was broken, but its people had survived, and that made all the difference. Elder Ninra's voice trembled with emotion. "We owe you everything," he said quietly. "Our lives, our future, our freedom. Without humanity, none of us would be standing here today." Captain Ju slowly shook his head. "You owe us nothing," he replied. "We simply did what anyone should have done. We saw innocent people suffering, and we chose to help." Ninra looked at him with sad eyes before giving a faint smile. "That's exactly what makes humans different." He paused, watching the people below celebrate their first taste of freedom. "No one else in this galaxy does what you do. The Drathan Empire has conquered worlds for centuries. Entire civilizations have bowed before them. No one dared challenge their power." He turned toward Ju, "until humanity arrived." At that moment, Lieutenant Heejin hurried up the hill, clutching a glowing data pad. His expression was filled with excitement. "Captain, you need to see this." Juo looked up. "What is it?" Heejin handed over the device. "We're receiving transmissions from every corner of this sector. Dozens of star systems are contacting us." Juo frowned. "What kind of transmissions?" Heejin smiled. "Messages of hope. News of our victory is spreading. Species that were conquered by the Drathons are starting to rebel. They're saying that if humans could defeat the Empire, maybe they can too." Ju took the datapad and read through the messages. They were from species he had never heard of. The Morphin, the Solani, the Cortex, all of them had been enslaved by the Drathan Empire, and all of them were now rising up. The Empire is collapsing just from one battle. Ninra looked at him with her large, kind eyes. "It wasn't just a battle, it was a message. You showed the galaxy that the Drathons can be beaten. You showed them that they don't have to be afraid anymore." Admiral Yuna contacted Ju from the Indomitable. "Captain, we have a situation. The Drathon home system is broadcasting a message. They want to negotiate." "Negotiate what?" "Peace. They're offering to recognize all their former colonies as independent. They're willing to pay reparations. They're even offering to join a defensive alliance if we'll stop supporting the rebellions." Ju couldn't believe it. "What do you think?" "I think they're terrified. They've never lost before. Now they've lost everything. They know if we wanted to, we could march on their homeworld and conquer them. They're desperate, but we don't want to conquer anyone." "Exactly. And that's what makes us different from them." Admiral Yuna paused. "Captain Earth Command wants to hold a conference. All the species that were under Drathan control, the Velkari, even the Drathons themselves, they want to create some kind of galactic alliance, and they want you to be part of the negotiations." "Why me?" "Because you're the one who started this. You answered the distress call. You defended the Velkari. You're a symbol now, Ju, like it or not." 6 weeks later, representatives from 23 different species gathered on a neutral space station. The station had been built by the Velkari as a gesture of goodwill. It orbited a star between human and Dari space. Ju walked into the main conference hall with Ninra beside him. The room was filled with aliens of every shape and size. Some were tall, some were short, some had scales, some had fur, some looked almost human, others looked completely different, but they all had one thing in common. They were all free now. Elder Ninra stepped up to the podium. Her voice was translated into dozens of languages simultaneously. "Friends, 6 months ago, my people faced extinction. We sent a message into space, hoping someone would remember us after we were gone. Instead, someone came to save us. The humans, Deathworlders from a planet we never knew existed. She paused, letting her words sink in. They had no obligation to help us. We were strangers. They risked their lives, was their only ship against an entire fleet. They did this because it was right, not because they wanted power or territory, but because they believed in helping others. The room was silent. Every species represented here had suffered under the Drathan Empire. They all knew what it meant to be helpless. I propose we form an alliance, the Free Worlds Coalition. Not an empire, not a conquest, but a true partnership of equals. We will defend each other, share our knowledge, protect developing civilizations, and never allow another empire like the Drathons to rise again. One by one, the representatives stood and agreed. Even the Drathon representative, a humbled admiral named Kexlar, stood and accepted the terms. The empire that had terrorized the galaxy for centuries was joining an alliance based on mutual respect and peace. It was historic. After the conference, Ju found himself alone on an observation deck. He looked out at the stars, thinking about how much had changed. Just a few months ago, humanity thought they were alone in the universe. Now they were part of a galactic community. Bora joined him. The tactical officer looked tired but satisfied. Earth Command has new orders for us. They want the Defiant to patrol the frontier, be the first responders if anyone needs help. So, we're going to be Galactic Police. Bora smiled. More like Galactic Guardians. The Coalition needs someone to watch for threats, to respond to distress calls. Who better than us? Tammin walked up excited as always. Captain, I've been talking with Velkari scientists. They want to establish a joint research program combining human military technology with their scientific knowledge. We could make incredible advances. Dong-hyun was right behind him. And I've been working with their engineers. Captain, you should see some of the ideas they have. If we combine their power systems with our propulsion, we could build ships twice as fast as anything we have now. Ajin was the last to arrive. The linguist looked happier than Ju had ever seen her. Captain, I'm being asked to head up a new diplomatic corps, teaching aliens about human culture, learning about theirs, building bridges between species. Ju looked at his crew, his friends. They had been through so much together, and now they were all going their separate ways. But that was okay. That was progress. I'm proud of all of you. We answered a distress call and changed the galaxy. Not bad for a crew of explorers. They all laughed. It felt good to laugh after everything they had been through. Ninra found them later. She had a gift for each crew member. Beautiful crystals that glowed with soft light. They were called memory stones. The Velkari used them to remember important moments. These are programmed with the memory of your arrival. When you look at them, you'll see our world as it was when you first came. You'll see the hope you brought us. So you never forget what you did here. Ju held the crystal carefully. It was warm in his hand. Thank you for everything. No, thank you. Ninra's bioluminescent patterns glowed bright blue, the very sign of happiness. You taught the galaxy something important. That strength isn't about conquest. It's about protection. That the truly strong don't bully the weak. They defend them. A week later, the Defiant departed the station. They had a new mission. Several systems had detected unusual readings that might be more distress signals. The Coalition wanted someone to investigate. As the ship jumped to faster-than-light speed, Ju sat in his command chair and thought about the future. Humanity had a new role in the galaxy. They were protectors, guardians, friends to those who needed help. It was a big responsibility, but Ju knew humanity was ready for it. They had evolved on a harsh world. They had survived by being tough, smart, and adaptable. But most importantly, they had survived by working together and helping each other. Now they would do the same on a galactic scale. The sensors beeped. Heejin checked her screen and looked up with excitement. Captain, I'm detecting a signal. It's faint, but it's definitely a distress call coming from a system about 2 light-years away. Bora checked tactical. No threats detected in the area. It looks safe to investigate. Tammin pulled up star charts. The system has 3 planets. One of them is in the habitable zone. If there's intelligent life there, they might need help. Ju didn't hesitate. Set course, maximum speed. Someone out there needs help, and we're going to answer their call. The Defiant changed course and jumped to faster-than-light speed. Behind them, the Free Worlds Coalition continued to grow. Species were working together, building together, learning together. And somewhere out in space, another civilization would soon learn that they were not alone, that help was coming, that the Deathworlders would answer their call, because that's what humans did. They helped, they protected. They fought for those who couldn't fight for themselves, not because they were the strongest, not because they were the smartest, but because they believed it was the right thing to do. And in a galaxy that had known mostly fear and conquest, that simple belief was revolutionary. The age of empires was ending. The age of cooperation was beginning, and it all started because one captain heard a distress call and decided to answer it. Back on the Defiant, Tammin couldn't sleep. His mind was racing with everything he had learned about the Drathan Empire. He sat in the science lab, going through the Velkari intelligence data again and again. Something wasn't making sense. The Drathan Empire had conquered 47 star systems, dozens of species. Yet, their technology wasn't impressive. Their ships were big, but poorly designed. Their weapons were powerful, but inefficient. How did they win so easily? Then Tammin found something interesting in the Velkari database. It was a planetary classification system. The Velkari rated worlds based on how dangerous they were to life. Most inhabited worlds were Class 1 or Class 2. Gentle environments, calm weather, few predators. Earth wasn't in the database, of course. The Velkari had never heard of it. But out of curiosity, Tammin entered Earth's data into the classification system. The result made him blink. Class 12, the highest danger rating in the entire system. The database had a note saying that no known intelligent species had ever evolved on any world rated above Class 8. Dong-hun, can you come to the lab? Tammin called. I need a second opinion on something. The engineer arrived a few minutes later, wiping oil from his hands. He had been working on the ship's weapon systems. What's up, Doc? Look at this. Tammin showed him the classification. According to the Velkari, Earth is incredibly dangerous. Too dangerous for intelligent life to evolve. Dong-hun laughed. Earth dangerous. We grew up there. It's just normal. That's my point. It's normal to us. But look at the reasons for the high rating. Earth's gravity is almost twice what most species consider normal. Our atmosphere has high oxygen levels that are toxic to many aliens. We have extreme weather, hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, and our wildlife. Tammin pulled up images of Earth. Animals, lions, bears, sharks, crocodiles, snakes, spiders. Most inhabited worlds don't have apex. Predators like these, Tammin explained. The Velkari homeworld has nothing more dangerous than what we would call a large rabbit. Even their oceans are peaceful. Dong-hun sat down, his smile fading. You're saying we evolved in hell compared to them. Not hell, just a much harsher environment. Think about it. Our bodies had to adapt to high gravity. That makes us stronger and more durable than most species. We can run for hours without stopping because we evolved to chase prey until it died from exhaustion. Our immune systems fight off diseases that would kill other species in hours. They heard footsteps. Bora entered the lab. I heard you two talking about Earth being dangerous. I want to know more. Tammin showed her the data. Bora studied it with her tactical mind. Her eyes grew wider as she understood the implications. This means we're naturally tougher than the Drathans, she said slowly. Physically tougher. They evolved on an easy world. They never had to fight for survival like we did. Exactly, Tammin said. And there's more. I've been analyzing the Drathan ship designs. Their vessels are built for species that evolved in low gravity. The internal structure is weak by our standards. The life support systems are delicate. What about their weapons? Bora asked. Powerful but crude. They rely on overwhelming firepower rather than precision. Our point defense systems are faster than their targeting computers because we need faster reflexes just to survive on Earth. Dong-hun was grinning now. So what you're saying is that humans are basically super soldiers compared to them. In a way, yes, but it's more than just physical. Think about human history. We've been fighting wars for thousands of years. We understand tactics, strategy, deception. The Draython Empire wins because no one fights back properly. They intimidate their enemies into surrendering. Bora called Ju to the lab. When the captain arrived, Tamman explained everything they had discovered. Ju listened carefully. When Tamman finished, the captain was quiet for a long moment. "So, you're telling me that what makes humans ordinary on Earth makes us extraordinary in space?" "Yes, sir. We're Deathworlders. We come from a planet that would kill most alien species in days. That makes us naturally adapted for war in ways the Draythons can't match." Ju walked to the window and looked out at the Velkari planet below. Fire still burned on the surface. In 72 hours, the Draython fleet would return to finish what they started. But now he knew something the Draythons didn't. They had never faced a species like humanity. They had never fought someone who evolved fighting. "Bora, I want a full tactical analysis. Use everything we know about Draython ships and tactics. Find their weaknesses. Tamman, work with the Velkari. See if we can retrofit any of their remaining orbital platforms with our weapons. Dong-Hyun, I need our ship ready for the fight of its life." They all nodded. As they left to begin their tasks, Ju opened a communication channel to the entire crew. "This is the captain. I need everyone to understand what we're about to do. In 72 hours, a Draython fleet of 40 warships will arrive. We are one ship, but we have advantages they don't know about." He explained about Earth being a death world, about how humanity's harsh home had made them stronger, faster, and tougher than most aliens, about how human tactical thinking was thousands of years more advanced than species that never had to fight. "The Draython Empire is built on fear," Ju continued. "They expect their enemies to surrender. They expect easy victories. Well, we're going to show them what happens when they face someone who fights back. We're going to show them what Deathers can do." Down on the planet, Elder Ninra watched the human crew working. They moved with purpose and energy that amazed the Velkari. These humans worked for hours without rest. They lifted heavy equipment that should have required machines. They thought and moved faster than seemed possible. A young Velkari scientist named Kelva approached Ninra. She had been studying the humans closely. "Elder, I've been analyzing their biology. These humans are terrifying." "What do you mean?" Ninra asked. "Their homeworld should have killed them, but instead it made them into perfect warriors. They can regulate their body temperature through sweating, which allows them to work continuously. Their bones are dense and strong from the high gravity. Their muscles are powerful. Their reaction times are incredible. And Elder, they have binocular vision optimized for tracking prey." Kelva pulled up data on her device. "They're persistence hunters. On their world, humans would chase prey for hours or even days until the animal died from exhaustion. That's why they can work so long without stopping. It's in their biology." Ninra felt a chill. "You're saying they evolved to hunt things to death?" "Yes. And their psychology matches their biology. They form tight social bonds. They're protective of their group. And they have something we don't have much of: aggression, the willingness to fight when threatened." Ninra watched Captain Ju directing the defense preparations. He moved with confidence and authority. There was no fear in him, only determination. "The Draythons don't know what's coming for them," Ninra said quietly. "They've never fought a species like this." "No," Kelva agreed. "They've conquered peaceful species, gentle species, species that evolved in safe environments. But humans come from a world of monsters, and they survived by becoming the most dangerous monster of all." As the preparations continued, word spread through the Velkari bunkers about what Earth really was, about the deadly animals, the violent weather, the diseases, the high gravity, about how humans had evolved in constant struggle. The Velkari began to understand these strange aliens, who had come to help them, weren't just brave. They were born for this. War was in their history, their culture, their very biology. The Draython Empire thought they were coming to destroy a helpless world. Instead, they were about to meet Deathworlders, and the galaxy would never be the same. The 72 hours passed too quickly. The human crew had worked without stopping. They retrofitted 3 Velkari orbital platforms with human railguns and missile systems. They seeded the debris fields with mines. They set up automated defense drones at key positions around the planet. It wasn't much, not against 40 warships, but it was something. Jiu stood on the bridge of the Defiant, watching the sensors. Any moment now, the Drathon fleet would arrive. Behind him, his crew sat at their stations. Everyone was tense, but ready. "Captain, I'm detecting hyperspace signatures. They're coming." The main view screen lit up as 40 massive Drathon warships emerged from hyperspace. They were ugly vessels, all sharp angles and aggressive designs. At the center of the formation was the largest ship, a dreadnought 3 times the size of the Defiant. That's the Emperor's Wrath, the flagship. It's commanded by Admiral Vexthor. The Drathon fleet spread out in a standard attack formation. They clearly weren't expecting any resistance. Why would they? The Velkari had no ships left. A transmission came through. Hyjin put it on the main speakers. The voice was harsh and grating, translated by the computer. "Bellari survivors. This is Admiral Vexthor of the Drathon Empire. Your time has come. Surrender now and we will make your deaths quick. Resist, and we will make you suffer. You have 1 minute to decide." Jiu smiled. It wasn't a friendly smile. Hyjin, open a channel. Channel open. "Sir Admiral Vexthor, this is Captain Jiu of the United Nations Space Command. The Velkari are under our protection. You will withdraw from this system immediately. This is your only warning." There was a long pause. Then the Drathon Admiral laughed. It was a cruel sound. "United Nations. I have never heard of you. You have 1 ship. 1 tiny ship. I have 40 warships. Are you insane?" "Maybe. But I'm also serious. Leave now or face the consequences." "Very well. You will be an example to others who think to defy us. All ships destroy that vessel." The Drathon fleet opened fire. Hundreds of weapons discharged at once. The space around the Defiant lit up with energy beams and missiles. Evasive maneuvers. Point defense systems active. The Defiant moved like nothing the Drathons had ever seen. Human pilots could handle G-forces that would kill most aliens. The ship twisted and spun through space, dodging fire that should have been impossible to avoid. The point defense systems opened up. Thousands of small projectiles fired every second, intercepting incoming missiles and deflecting energy beams. The systems operated faster than Drathon targeting computers could track. Of the hundreds of shots fired at the Defiant, only a handful hit, and the ship's shields absorbed most of the damage. "Target their forward ships. Fire rail guns." The Defiant's main weapons opened fire. Rail guns accelerated metal slugs to 3% of light speed. At that velocity, nothing could stop them. The projectiles punched through Drathon shields like they weren't even there. The first Drathon ship exploded. Then the second. Then the third. In 90 seconds, 4 Drathon warships were destroyed. On the Emperor's Wrath, Admiral Vexthor stared at his screens in disbelief. 4 ships gone in less than 2 minutes against 1 enemy vessel. What are they? I don't know, but they fight like nothing I've ever seen. All ships concentrate fire, overwhelm their defenses. The Drathon fleet adjusted. They stopped trying to spread their fire and focused everything on the Defiant. The human ship couldn't dodge everything. Hits started getting through. In the engine room, Donghyun fought to keep systems online. Sparks flew from damaged consoles. Smoke filled the corridors, but he refused to give up. "We're losing shields. Hull breaches on decks 3 and 5. Keep us flying. Bora, activate the mines." The mines they had hidden in the debris field activated. Several Drathon ships had moved into the field to get better firing angles. Suddenly, explosions erupted around them. 3 more Drathon vessels were disabled. "Now activate the orbital platforms." The 3 retrofitted Velkari platforms powered up. The Drathons had ignored them, thinking they were dead wreckage. Now they opened fire with human weapons. More Drathon ships took damage, but the Drathon fleet was adapting. They destroyed the orbital platforms and adjusted their formations. The Defiant was taking more and more hits. The ship was tough, built to handle Earth's environment, but it wasn't invincible. "Captain, we can't take much more of this." "We need to retreat." "No. If we run, the Velkari die. We hold the line." Hyjin suddenly shouted, "Captain, I'm detecting new hyperspace signatures. Multiple ships incoming. Drathon reinforcements." "No. They're human ships. It's the fleet from Earth. 10 human warships emerged from hyperspace. 3 battle cruisers, 5 destroyers, 2 carriers with hundreds of fighters. They were beautiful. A new voice came over the communications channel. "This is Admiral Yuna of the UNS Indomitable. Sorry we're late to the party, Ju. Hope you saved some for us." Ju laughed with relief. "Admiral, good to see you." "The Drathans don't seem to want to leave." "Then let's convince them. All ships, Battle Formation Alpha. Show these bullies what happens when they pick on someone their own size." The human fleet moved into position with perfect coordination. Centuries of naval warfare had taught humanity how to fight as a unit. The Drathons had never seen anything like it. Admiral Vexthor realized he had made a terrible mistake. These weren't helpless prey, these were predators, and he had just angered them. All ships retreat. Fall back to the human fleet opened fire. It wasn't a battle, it was a massacre. Human weapons tore through Drathan shields. Human fighters flew circles around Drathan interceptors. Human tactics exploited every weakness in the Drathan formation. The carriers launched waves of fighters. Human pilots pulled maneuvers that would kill most aliens from the G-forces alone. They danced through Drathon fire, their reflexes too fast for the enemy targeting systems. One by one, Drathon ships were destroyed or disabled. Some tried to run. The human destroyers hunted them down. Some tried to fight. The human battlecruisers overwhelmed them. In 6 hours of continuous combat, the Drathan fleet was shattered. Only the Emperor's Wrath remained, surrounded by 5 human warships. "Admiral Vexthor, surrender your vessel. Your fleet is destroyed. There is no escape." Vexthor looked at his tactical displays. He had started with 40 ships. Now he had one, and it was badly damaged. For the first time in his life, Admiral Vexthor knew true fear. "What are you? We're humans, and we come from a world you can't imagine. A world that made us strong, made us survivors, made us fighters. You picked the wrong species to bully, Admiral. I surrender. Please, I surrender." On the planet below, the Velkari emerged from their bunkers. They looked up at the sky and saw the debris of the Drathon fleet burning as it fell through the atmosphere like shooting stars. Elder Ninra wept with joy. The Deathworlders had kept their promise. They had defended the Velkari, and they had won. The Defiant dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Kepler 442 system. What they saw made everyone on the bridge go silent. The main view screen showed a planet covered in flames. Even from orbit, they could see entire cities burning. Debris floated everywhere in space. Broken pieces of what used to be orbital stations and ships. Some pieces were still spinning slowly, catching the light from the system's dying star. "My God," Tammin whispered. "What have they done?" Bora checked her tactical screens. "I'm not detecting any Drathon ships in the system. They must have finished their attack and left." "Hey Jin, can you scan for life signs?" Jiwa asked. His voice was tight with emotion. "Scanning now, Captain." Yajin worked her controls for several minutes. Then her face brightened slightly. "I'm detecting life signs underground. There are bunkers beneath the surface. Thousands of readings, maybe tens of thousands. They survived," Ju said with relief. "Prepare a shuttle. Borataman, you're with me. We're going down there." The shuttle ride through the planet's atmosphere was rough. Smoke and ash filled the air from the burning cities. When they landed near one of the bunker entrances, the ground was still hot from recent bombardment. The bunker door was massive, built to withstand orbital strikes. Tammin used his scanner to send a friendly signal. They waited, not knowing if anyone would answer. After 5 long minutes, the door began to open. Light spilled out from inside, and then they saw the Velkari for the first time. They were beautiful, tall and graceful, with smooth skin that seemed to shimmer with different colors. Blue patterns flowed across their bodies like light moving through water. Their eyes were large and kind, even though they were filled with fear. Right now, one of them stepped forward. She was older than the others, with silver patterns on her skin. She spoke in that same musical language from the distress signal. Tammin's translator device converted her words into English. "Who are you? How did you find us?" Her voice was filled with wonder and disbelief. My name is Captain Ju. We're from a planet called Earth. We received your distress signal. The elderly's legs seemed to give out. Other Velkari caught her before she fell. Tears began flowing down her face, leaving glowing trails on her skin. You came, she whispered. Someone actually came. I'm Elder Ninra. I sent that message. I never thought anyone would hear it. Ju knelt down beside her. We heard it. We came as fast as we could. But we need to understand what happened here. Tell us about the Drathon Empire. The Velkari led them deeper into the bunker. Thousands of refugees filled the underground spaces. Children huddled close to their parents. The injured lay on makeshift beds. Everyone looked exhausted and afraid. In a private chamber, Elder Ninra told them the story. The Velkari had been a peaceful civilization for thousands of years. They studied science and art. They had no armies, no weapons. War was something they read about in ancient history, not something they practiced. 6 months ago, the Drathon Empire arrived. Their ships filled the sky. They broadcast a simple message: submit or die. The Valkyrie tried to negotiate. They offered trade, friendship, and knowledge. The Drathons weren't interested in any of that. They only wanted slaves and resources. When the Valkyrie refused to surrender, the bombardment began. The Drathons destroyed their orbital defenses in hours. Then they started bombing the surface. Cities were reduced to rubble. Millions died in the first week. We tried to evacuate. Ninra said, we loaded our ships with refugees and sent them to other systems, but the Drathon fleet hunted them down. They destroyed every ship. We stopped trying to run and built these bunkers instead. Now we just wait for them to come back and finish what they started. Tam looked sick. How can anyone be so cruel? Because they can, Bora said grimly. They've never faced real resistance. According to the data in your message, the Drathon Empire has conquered 47 star systems. They win because no one fights back. Nin brought up holographic displays showing Drathon intelligence. The Velkari had managed to hack into some Drathon systems before their networks were destroyed. What they learned was terrifying. The Drathon Empire was vast. Dozens of species had been conquered or destroyed. The Drathons believed that might made right. If you were weak, you deserved to be conquered. If you were strong, you should be doing the conquering. But as Tamman studied the data, he noticed something interesting. The Drathon ships weren't actually that advanced. Their weapons were powerful, but their technology was crude. Their tactics were simple and brutal. They win through numbers and fear. Tamman said they overwhelmed their enemies with massive fleets, but ship for ship, they might not be as dangerous as they seem. That doesn't help us, Ninra said sadly. We have no ships left, no weapons. Even if we knew their weaknesses, we have no way to exploit them. Ju stood up and walked to the holographic display. He studied the Drathon fleet positions and ship designs. An idea was forming in his mind, but it was crazy, absolutely crazy. When will they come back? He asked. According to their patrol patterns, in about 72 hours, Ninra replied. They'll come back to finish the bombardment, to make sure Navalari survived. Bora saw the look on Jayu's face. Captain, what are you thinking? I'm thinking that Earth Command told us to investigate and gather intelligence. Well, we've done that. Now, I think we need to do something they didn't authorize. What do you mean? Tamman asked. I mean, we're going to stay. We're going to defend this world, and we're going to show the Drathon Empire that not everyone in this galaxy is going to roll over for them. Bora smiled. It was the first time anyone had seen her smile in months. Captain, there are 40 Drathon warships in the fleet that will return here. We have one ship. Yes, Ju said, but they've never fought anyone who fought back. We have. Humans have been fighting each other for thousands of years. We know war. They only know bullying. Ninra stood up, her bioluminescent patterns glowing brighter with hope. You would do this. Risk your lives for us. We are strangers to you. That's exactly why we have to help, Ju said. Because it's the right thing to do, and because if we don't stop the Drathon Empire here, they'll keep conquering. Eventually, they might find Earth. Better to face them now on our terms. He activated his communicator. Defiant. This is the captain. Heejin, I need you to send a message to Earth Command. Tell them about the Velkari. Tell them about the Drathon Empire, and tell them we're going to need reinforcements." Heejin's voice came back worried. "Captain Earth Command ordered us not to engage. I know what they ordered. Send the message anyway. And hey Jin, ask for volunteers. Tell them we found aliens. Tell them those aliens are about to be destroyed by an empire. Tell them Captain Ju and the crew of the Defiant are going to make a stand. Anyone who wants to help should come now." There was a pause. Then Heejin replied, her voice stronger now. "Message sent. Captain and Sir, the crew wants you to know we're with you. All of us." Ju looked at Ninra. "You said you built these bunkers to wait for death. Well, we're going to turn them into shelters to wait for victory. We have 72 hours. Let's get to work." For the first time since the attack began, Elder Ninra felt something she thought was lost forever. Hope. Captain Ju sat in the command chair of the UNS Defiant, staring at the star map displayed on the main screen. Space was quiet tonight. Too quiet. The ship had been traveling through the outer regions of explored space for 3 months now, mapping new systems and searching for resources. It was boring work, but someone had to do it. The year was 2287, and humanity had finally figured out how to travel faster than light. The Defiant was the first ship to use this new technology for deep space exploration. Ju felt proud to command such an important mission, even if most days involved nothing but empty space and routine checks. Lieutenant Haijin broke the silence from her station. She was the communications officer, and right now her face showed confusion. Her hands moved quickly across her controls as she tried to make sense of something. "Captain, I'm picking up something strange." Haijin said, "It's a signal. Very weak, but it's definitely artificial, not natural space noise." Ju leaned forward. His heart started beating faster. An artificial signal out here. That could only mean one thing. Can you tell where it's coming from? "Working on it now, sir. Hi." Jin's fingers danced across her keyboard. "The signal is very old. It's been traveling through space for a long time. I'm trying to clean it up so we can understand it." Dr. Time Min, the ship's chief science officer, rushed over to Hyagin Station. He was a thin man with glasses that always seemed too big for his face. Right now, those glasses reflected the glowing screens as he studied the data. "This is incredible," Tammin whispered. "Captain, if this is what I think it is, we're looking at proof of alien life." The bridge went silent. Everyone stopped what they were doing and turned to look. Alien life. The words hung in the air like a bomb waiting to explode. Humanity had been searching for aliens for centuries. They had found nothing. Empty planets, dead rocks, but never a single sign of intelligent life until now. "How long until you can decode it?" Ju asked. "Give me an hour," Heejin replied. "Maybe 2. The signal uses patterns I've never seen before, but patterns are patterns. I can figure it out." Ju nodded. He turned to Commander Bora at the tactical station. She was a serious woman who rarely smiled, but she was the best tactical officer in the fleet. If things went wrong, Bora would keep them alive. "Commander, run a full sensor sweep of the area. I want to know if anything else is out here with us." "Already on it, sir," Bora said without looking up from her screens. "So far, nothing. Just us in empty space." The next 2 hours felt like days. Ju paced the bridge while Heejin worked on the signal. Tammin hovered nearby, offering suggestions and theories. The rest of the crew tried to focus on their normal duties, but everyone kept glancing at the communication station. Finally, Heijin looked up. Her face was pale. "Captain, I've decoded the message. You need to hear this." "Put it on speakers," Ju ordered. A voice filled the bridge. It was strange, musical, almost like nothing human. The words were translated by the computer into English, but the emotion behind them was clear. Fear, desperation, sadness. "This is Elder Ninra of the Velkari people. If anyone can hear this message, please remember us. Our world is dying. The Drathon Empire came to our system 6 months ago. They demanded we submit to their rule. We are a peaceful people. We have no weapons, no soldiers. When we refused to become their slaves, they began destroying our world." The voice paused. In the background, they could hear explosions and screams. "They bomb our cities from orbit. Our orbital stations are destroyed. Millions are dead. We sent ships to evacuate, but the Draython fleet hunts them down. There is no escape. We are sending this message to anyone who might hear it. We do not ask for rescue. It is too late for us. We only ask that someone remembers the Valkyrie existed, that we loved and laughed and dreamed. Do not let the galaxy forget us. The message included coordinates, star charts, and technical data about the Draython Empire. Then it ended. The bridge was silent. Tommen spoke first. His voice shook. "Captain, according to the data in the message, this signal was sent 6 months ago from a system 1,200 light-years from Earth, the Kepler 442 system. How long would it take us to get there?" Ju asked. Engineer Dong-hyun answered from the engine room through the intercom. He was responsible for the ship's faster-than-light drive, with our current FTL capabilities about 72 hours, sir. "But Captain, we need to think about this carefully. We don't know anything about this Draython Empire. We know they destroy entire civilizations," Bora said coldly. "We know they're slavers, and we know they might still be in that system." Ju stood up and walked to the main view screen. Out there somewhere in the darkness, an alien species was crying for help, or had cried for help. The message was 6 months old. The Valkyrie might already be dead, but what if they weren't? "I need to contact Earth Command," Ju said. "This decision is too big for me to make alone." He went to his ready room and opened a quantum communication link to Earth. The technology allowed instant communication across any distance, but it required huge amounts of power. They could only use it for important messages. This was definitely important. Admiral Park appeared on the screen. She was an older woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. She had commanded ships in space before Ju was even born. "Captain Ju, your message said this was urgent. What's the situation?" Ju explained everything. The signal, the Valkyrie, the Draython Empire, the coordinates. When he finished, Admiral Park was quiet for a long moment. "This changes everything," she finally said. "We're not alone in the universe, and the first aliens we discover are being destroyed by an empire. Captain, I need to bring this to the Security Council. Stand by for orders." The next 12 hours were torture. Ju knew that back on Earth, the most powerful people in humanity were debating what to do. Some would want to hide, keep Earth's location secret, and hope the Draython Empire never found them. Others would want to investigate, learn about this new threat, and maybe, just maybe, some would want to help. Finally, the quantum link activated again. Admiral Park's face appeared, but this time, she wasn't alone. Behind her stood members of the United Nations Security Council. "Captain Ju," Admiral Park said formally, "the Security Council has reached a decision. You are authorized to proceed to the Kepler 442 system. Your mission is to investigate and gather intelligence on the Draython Empire. You are not, I repeat, not authorized to engage in combat. If the situation is too dangerous, you will retreat immediately. Is that clear?" "Crystal clear, ma'am," Ju replied. "Good. And Captain, be careful. We have no idea what you're flying into. You might be making first contact with aliens. Make humanity proud." The transmission ended. Geo took a deep breath and returned to the bridge. His crew looked at him with questions in their eyes. "Set course for the Kepler 442 system," Geo ordered. "Maximum speed. We're going to find out what happened to the Valkyrie." Dong-hyun's voice came through the intercom. "FTL drive charging now, Captain." "Well, be ready to jump in 10 minutes. As the ship prepared to jump to faster-than-light speed, Ju thought about the message. The voice of Elder Ninra asking only to be remembered. Well, humanity had heard that cry, and they were coming. Whether they would arrive in time to do anything but mourn remained to be seen.